You drink coffee in the afternoon, fall asleep without much trouble, and tell yourself the same thing millions of people say: caffeine does not affect me. You do not lie awake shaking. You do not stare at the ceiling for hours. Your eyes close, your body becomes still, and eventually you fall asleep. So the coffee must be gone. But then morning arrives, your alarm sounds, your head feels heavy, and your brain seems to be several steps behind your body. You reach for another coffee because sleep did not give you enough energy, and that is where the cycle quietly begins again. Here is what most people misunderstand. Being able to fall asleep does not prove that caffeine had no effect on your night. Falling asleep is only the entrance. The real question is, what happens after you enter? Was your sleep continuous? Did your body reach the deeper stages of recovery it needed? Did you wake repeatedly without remembering? Did you spend enough time sleeping? And when morning arrived, did you feel restored, or did you immediately need another stimulant just to feel normal? Your bedtime may say caffeine does not affect you. Your morning may be telling a different story. Caffeine works partly by blocking the action of adenosine, a chemical signal that builds while you are awake and contributes to sleep pressure. Think of adenosine like a message slowly becoming louder throughout the day. You have been awake long enough, your brain needs rest. Caffeine does not erase that message. It temporarily prevents your brain from hearing it as clearly. That is why coffee can make you feel more alert, even when your body still needs sleep. The tiredness has not necessarily disappeared. Its signal has been covered. And when the caffeine begins wearing off, the sleep pressure that was waiting underneath may become noticeable again. You call it a crash. But the crash is often not new exhaustion arriving from nowhere. It may be the tiredness that caffeine helped you ignore. This becomes especially important later in the day. You drink coffee because the afternoon feels heavy. It helps. You focus better, you finish your work, you stop feeling as tired. By bedtime, you may no longer notice an obvious buzz. You feel calm enough to sleep. You close your eyes and drift off. But caffeine does not disappear the moment you stop feeling stimulated. It can remain active in the body for hours, and the speed at which people process it varies widely. One person may drink coffee later and notice very little. Another may have the same amount and experience lighter sleep, more wakefulness, or a harder morning. Your genetics, habits, medications, pregnancy status, age, dose, timing, and individual sensitivity can all influence how strongly caffeine affects you. This is why copying someone else's coffee routine may tell you almost nothing about your own sleep. Your friend drinks espresso after dinner and claims to sleep perfectly. That does not mean your brain will respond the same way. And there is another problem. People are not always good at noticing how caffeine changes their sleep. You may recognize a night when you cannot fall asleep, but you may not recognize a night when you fall asleep normally and still receive less restorative sleep. You were unconscious, you assume you slept well, then you wake up tired and blame stress, age, motivation, the weather, your mattress, anything except the drink you had hours earlier. But here is what most people miss. Sleep quality is not always something you can feel while it is being damaged. You often discover it the next morning. You open your eyes and feel as if the night passed without repairing you. Your thoughts are slow, your patience is thin, your first task feels unusually difficult. And before your brain has even fully entered the day, you begin thinking about coffee. That is when caffeine stops being something you enjoy and starts becoming something you use to repair the consequences of yesterday's caffeine. A weak night creates a tired morning. A tired morning creates more caffeine. More caffeine, especially later or in larger amounts, can contribute to another weak night. Then another tired morning arrives. Eventually, the cycle feels so normal that you stop seeing it. You simply say, I cannot function without coffee. But ask yourself an uncomfortable question. Is coffee giving you energy? Or is it temporarily helping you borrow alertness from a body that still needs recovery? Coffee can be useful. It can improve alertness, and many adults enjoy moderate amounts without obvious sleep problems. The goal is not to make coffee the enemy. The goal is to stop using it blindly, because the effect does not depend only on whether you drink coffee. It depends on how much you consume, when you consume it, and how your body responds. A small morning coffee is not the same as several large drinks spread across the afternoon and evening. A cup at breakfast is not the same as an energy drink close to bedtime. Dose matters, timing matters, sensitivity matters. And this is why one universal caffeine cutoff does not work perfectly for everyone. You may have heard rules like never drink coffee after noon or stop caffeine 8 hours before bed. Those rules can be useful starting points, but they are not laws that affect every person identically. Instead of searching for one perfect number, learn to observe your own pattern. For the next 7 days, write down 3 things: when you consume caffeine, approximately how much you consume, and how you feel the following morning. Do not judge the experiment only by how fast you fall asleep. Notice whether you wake during the night. Notice whether the alarm feels unusually painful. Notice whether you wake with a heavy head. Notice whether you immediately crave caffeine. Notice whether your energy collapses in the afternoon. Your morning is part of the evidence. Then test one change. Move your final caffeine earlier, not by 10 minutes. Move it early enough to create a meaningful difference. Keep the rest of your routine as stable as possible and observe what happens for several days. You are not proving that coffee is bad. You are discovering whether its timing is bad for you. And here is where many people fail the experiment. They move 1 cup earlier but forget that caffeine is hiding in other places. Tea can contain caffeine. Cola can contain caffeine. Energy drinks can contain large amounts. Pre-workout products, chocolate, certain medications, and other products may also contribute. You may believe your final coffee was at noon while still consuming caffeine later without thinking about it. So look at the entire day, not only the cup labeled coffee. There is also a difference between enjoying caffeine and using it to escape every signal of tiredness. Tiredness is sometimes information. It may be telling you that you slept too little, that your night was fragmented, that your schedule is inconsistent, that your stress is too high, that you need food, water, movement, daylight, or medical attention. But when every tired feeling is immediately covered with caffeine, you lose the opportunity to understand what the body was trying to say. You silence the alarm without checking why it was ringing. Then the exhaustion returns later, often louder. This does not mean you should suddenly quit caffeine overnight. If you consume it regularly, stopping abruptly may cause unpleasant withdrawal symptoms such as headaches or stronger tiredness. A gradual reduction may be easier for some people. The goal is not punishment, the goal is awareness. Reduce what you do not need, move what you keep earlier, and stop assuming that falling asleep means the drink had no effect. There is another reason this cycle becomes difficult to break. Caffeine can make a bad night feel temporarily manageable. You sleep poorly, but coffee helps you perform because you survived the day. You underestimate the cost of the previous night. You think, I am fine. But functioning is not the same as recovering. You can use stimulation to push through tiredness, but caffeine does not replace the functions of sleep. It does not complete the night your brain missed. It does not provide the same physical and mental recovery. It helps you feel more awake. That is useful, but it is not identical to being well rested. And if you use caffeine to repeatedly hide inadequate sleep, the body can remain inside a cycle where the real problem never gets addressed. So tonight, try a different approach. Do not begin by removing every enjoyable thing from your life. Begin by protecting tomorrow morning. Look at the time you plan to sleep. Then look backward at when you had your final caffeine. Be honest about the amount. If caffeine may be reaching too far into the evening, move tomorrow's final serving earlier. Then give your brain other signals of alertness during the day. Get natural light after waking when possible. Move your body. Drink water. Eat regularly. Take brief breaks instead of answering every energy drop with another drink. When the afternoon slump appears, ask whether you need caffeine or whether you need movement, daylight, food, hydration, or a few minutes away from the screen. Sometimes the brain is not asking to be stimulated, it is asking to be supported. And as evening approaches, stop sending mixed signals. Do not use caffeine to push later and then expect your body to become calm on command. Lower the lights. Reduce stimulation. Move the phone away from the pillow. Give the day a clear ending. Your body needs contrast. Alertness belongs in the day. Recovery belongs at night. When caffeine, bright light, stress, and stimulation stretch too far into the evening, that boundary becomes difficult for the brain to recognize. Then you lie down feeling tired but still internally alert. And because you eventually fall asleep, You assume everything was fine. But sleep health is not measured only by whether sleep happened. It is measured by what that sleep gave back. Did it give you clarity? Did it give you emotional steadiness? Did it give you enough energy to begin the day without immediately needing rescue? That is the test. Now, coffee is not the explanation for every tired morning. PCID exhaustion can be connected to insufficient sleep, insomnia, breathing problems, medications, physical or mental health conditions, and many other causes if you regularly allow enough time for sleep but remain exhausted, snore heavily, wake gasping, experience morning headaches, or struggle to stay awake during important activities. Speak with a qualified healthcare professional. Do not blame coffee for something that deserves proper evaluation, but do not protect your coffee habit from honest observation either. You do not need to fear caffeine. You need to respect its timing. You need to respect the dose, and you need to respect the possibility that your body may be more sensitive than you realize. So tomorrow, do not automatically repeat the same pattern. Pause before the late coffee. Remember that the tiredness you cover today may return inside tomorrow morning. Ask yourself, do I need this right now? Could I take less? Could I have it earlier? What happens to my sleep when I change the timing? Run the experiment. Let your body answer, because the clearest sign that caffeine affects your sleep may not be lying awake at midnight. It may be waking up 8 hours later and still feeling as if the night never finished its work. You fall asleep fine, but that does not always mean you slept fine. And sometimes the first step toward waking with more energy is not adding another cup in the morning. It is moving yesterday's final cup farther away from the night.